The movie begins with footage of Specialist Billy Lynn aiding his fallen sergeant during an ambush in Iraq. He is caught on camera dragging the wounded Sergeant Virgil Shroom Bream to safety during an intense firefight in Iraq on October 23, 2004. A news report voiceover describes the scene, noting that the footage was captured on an abandoned camera and that Billy was awarded the Silver Star for his actions. It mentions that Billy and his squad, Bravo Squad, have been touring the country to receive thanks and that their tour will conclude with a performance at a halftime show in Dallas alongside Destiny's Child. Billy was sleeping when he received a phone call from his friend. After waking up, they had a conversation about the night before. Billy realizes he was late and he rushes to join his fellow soldiers. As they gather, Sergeant Dime addresses the squad, reminding them of their role as the face of the American military due to the media's attention. He emphasizes the importance of their behavior, especially as they are about to perform in front of a national audience during the halftime show. Albert, another character, comments cynically on the situation, noting that despite not being an elite force, the squad has bonded through their shared experiences. Josh, the Cowboys' PR representative, meets Bravo Squad and assures them that he will take care of their needs for the day. He then guides them to a limousine, which transports them to the stadium. Accompanying them are Josh and film producer Albert Brown, who is actively working on securing a film deal for the squad, aiming to capitalize on their newfound fame. As they navigate the Thanksgiving traffic, Hollywood producer Albert Ratner pitches his film ideas to the squad, offering $100,000 for the rights to their stories. Albert is often on the phone, hustling to secure deals for the movie. At various points, he suggests that Hilary Swank might play a character combining Billy and Sergeant Dime and proposes setting the film during Wabutais to ensure clearance. The squad is displeased with these ideas. While waiting for the game to start, Billy reflects on his reasons for enlisting in the Army. His motivation stemmed from an incident where his sister Catherine's fiancé left her after she was disfigured in a car accident. In a fit of rage, Billy vandalized the ex-fiancé's car and chased him, which led to him being offered a choice between jail and military service. Catherine, feeling guilty, has arranged for lawyers with anti-war views to help Billy go AWOL, but he is torn about abandoning his squad. Before game day, Billy visits his family. He sees his father Ray, now wheelchair-bound after several strokes, his mother, his sister Catherine, and his older sister Patty, who has a young child. The strokes revealed Ray's affairs, and a mistress now suing for child support, plunging the family into a financial crisis with $400,000 in medical bills and the risk of losing their home. Returning to the present, the atmosphere shifts as the group is warmly greeted by fans at the stadium. These fans express their gratitude and admiration for the squad's bravery in Iraq, highlighting the stark contrast between the public's perception and the soldiers' own experiences. Amidst this reception, Josh informs them about a video shoot planned for them. The squad then follows him, moving through the crowd towards the location of the shoot, continuing their day of orchestrated public appearances and media engagements. While waiting for Josh to return, the soldiers from Bravo Squad pass the time by playing on the field. Their casual game is interrupted when Norm Oglesby arrives. The soldiers briefly gather around him to exchange greetings before returning to their game. Norm then approaches Billy. Norm acknowledges Billy's service and compares him to legendary figures such as Audie Murphy and the heroes of the Alamo, emphasizing the storied tradition of Texas fighters. He praises Billy's modesty and confirms his hometown, revealing a personal connection to the same area, which helps build a rapport between them. Norm mentions his own background, noting that he started his real estate career near where Billy grew up. As their conversation concludes, an assistant interrupts to inform Norm that everything is ready for the videotaping. With that, Norm departs. During a press conference at the stadium, the spotlight intensifies on Billy Lynn and his squad as they field questions from journalists. Amidst the media engagement, Billy notices Faison, a Cowboys cheerleader, smiling at him. The press conference shifts to a more intense tone when a journalist questions the specifics of Bravo Squad's actions during the battle at Al-Ansakar. The soldiers are asked about their motivations and actions on that day. Billy, credited with quick thinking and bravery, is prompted to describe the events. He admits his memory of the details is hazy, but recalls his primary goal was to rescue Sergeant Bream. He downplays the dramatization of his actions, suggesting that his training automatically kicked in during the crisis. When a journalist highlights the Silver Star citation that mentions Billy engaging in hand-to-hand combat with an insurgent, Billy clarifies that his actions were mostly about returning fire and providing aid. Pressed further about the experience of close combat, Billy underscores that it was a quick and involuntary encounter, not something he had time to reflect on or derive pride from. He concludes by emphasizing that he did what he had to do, underlining the instinctual and survival-driven nature of his actions during the battle. After the press conference, Faison, a Cowboys cheerleader, approaches Billy Lynn. She introduces herself, sharing a connection through their shared hometown background. Their conversation quickly deepens as they discuss their public roles, her as a cheerleader and him as a war hero. Faison talks about the community aspects of her job, while Billy shares a poignant battlefield experience, revealing his spiritual struggles and the complexity of being honored for difficult memories. Faison offers comfort, suggesting their meeting might be divinely intended, which deepens their connection. Then they started kissing. While Norm delivers a speech about the Thanksgiving meal and honors the soldiers, Billy experiences flashbacks of his fellow soldiers and a family in Iraq. At a Thanksgiving gathering, Wayne Pfister of Pfister Oil and Gas discusses his company's efforts in hydraulic fracturing in Texas, aiming to lessen U.S. dependence on foreign oil. He ties this to the soldiers' service, suggesting that his success could help bring them home sooner. Billy responds by describing combat as a mind-altering experience, then sardonically comments that soldiers enjoy going lethal because that's what they're paid to do, challenging Wayne's perspective on the war. Sergeant Dime amplifies this by boasting about the soldiers' prowess in combat, fueled by adrenaline and weaponry, declaring them enthusiastic about their roles as warriors. The conversation ends with Dime making it clear that while civilian efforts like Wayne's are appreciated, they should not be misconstrued as the motivation for military actions. This emphasizes the separation between civilian initiatives and military operations, highlighting the soldiers' complex relationship with their roles and public perceptions. As the national anthem plays and the game is about to begin, Billy reflects on a poignant conversation he had with his sister Catherine. He recounts a distressing contrast during a flight home with the body of his fallen comrade Shroom. While civilian contractors celebrated their lucrative stint in Baghdad with champagne and cigars in the front of the plane, Shroom's flag-draped coffin lay solemnly in the back. Catherine checks on Billy's well-being, touching on his mental health and the stark realities he faces daily. Billy mentions he's been seeing a therapist who specializes in veterans, reassuring her that he's managing. Despite this, Catherine expresses deep concern for his safety and suggests ways he might avoid returning to active duty, emphasizing his status as a decorated hero who has already sacrificed enough. Billy insists on his commitment to return, motivated by a sense of duty, while Catherine reveals her fears for his safety, stating that his well-being is crucial to the family's stability. She candidly shares her despair, saying she'd be devastated if anything happened to him. The conversation highlights the emotional burden both carry, the weight of family expectations, and the personal cost of military service. Billy receives a phone call from a psychiatrist to whom Catherine had spoken, regarding a plan to get Billy honorably discharged so he doesn't have to return to Iraq, thereby sparing him further suffering. In Iraq, as the soldiers prepare for a mission to release hostages, Sergeant Shroom issues instructions to secure a site for a medevac. Amidst distant gunfire, he briefs the team on the impending challenges, identifying the enemy as likely the same militia that previously engaged Charlie Company. Sergeant Dime encourages the squad to stay focused, emphasizing respect for the enemy's territory and preparing them for a tough engagement. During the halftime show, Bravo Squad is called to perform a drill in front of the audience and Destiny's Child. The loud music and pyrotechnics unexpectedly trigger Sykes, a member of the squad who is already psychologically strained. Overwhelmed, Sykes reacts violently, attacking the stage manager and a security guard. Amidst this chaos, Lynn is swept into a flashback of the intense battle that initially brought the squad to fame. The squad had been deployed to rescue soldiers trapped by insurgents at a school. In the heat of the battle, Shroom is shot while moving out of cover. Billy, in a desperate attempt to save him, engages the nearby insurgents with his sidearm and manages to drag Shroom to a trench. However, Billy is attacked at close range by an insurgent, whom he kills in self-defense. When he returns to Shroom, he finds that he has bled to death, an event that deeply traumatized him. Snapped back to the present by his squad mates, Billy realizes the halftime show has already ended, and he had been standing frozen, lost in his traumatic memory. As the squad is being ushered off the field by stagehands and security, they encounter a potential confrontation. However, they are diverted from the conflict by a group of cheerleaders, led by Faison. In a brief interaction, Billy takes down Faison's name and number on his cell phone, learning her last name is Zorn, which means anger. Catherine calls Billy while driving to pick him up, discussing an appointment arranged by Dr. Shatton to possibly prevent his return to active duty. She assures Billy that she won't let him be taken away, expressing determination mixed with humor about taking matters into her own hands. Billy, touched by his sister's fervor, coordinates a meeting point at the stadium's yellow loading area, where he'll be by a black stretch Hummer. Despite Catherine's encouragement that he's making the right choice, Billy expresses hesitation about leaving his squad behind. Catherine ends the call with a reassurance to hold tight and her love, emphasizing her support, no matter his decision. During the game, a confrontation escalates when a spectator mocks the soldiers. Reacting strongly, Sykes puts the man in a headlock, causing him to pass out. After the man regains consciousness with the help of his friends, the group quickly leaves the scene. avoiding further conflict. During a discussion, Billy asks Sergeant Dime if he would choose to return to Iraq if he had the choice. Dime dismissively responds, emphasizing that they don't have a choice, rendering the question irrelevant. As Billy persists, Dime clarifies that the real issue is about the desire to have a choice. He concludes that they must rely on each other, as they are deeply committed to their roles, underscoring the importance of unity and vigilance within the squad. Albert informs Dime about a meeting with Norm, the owner of the Cowboys, to discuss funding for a movie about their Iraq incident. At the meeting, Norm offers only $5,500 per squad member, far less than the $100,000 Albert had anticipated. Dime angrily rejects the offer. Despite further conversation, Norm stands firm on his proposal. After rejecting Norm's offer, Dime and Albert step aside for a private talk. Meanwhile, Norm tells Billy that the squad's story now belongs to the American public. Billy, upset, confronts Norm and leaves to join Dime. Albert assures Billy he'll find investors to tell their story properly. As the squad prepares to leave, Billy has a brief encounter with Faison. He expresses a whimsical desire to run away with her, despite his obligation to return to duty. Faison, in a gentle but firm response, reminds him of his commitment to redeploy. Billy acknowledges this with acceptance, and they share a kiss, marking a poignant moment of mutual understanding and farewell. After reuniting with his squad, Billy and the others are suddenly confronted by the same security guards from earlier, sparking a brief altercation that triggers Billy's PTSD. This causes him to experience vivid, surreal flashbacks of war. The situation escalates until a warning gunshot calms the chaos. Just then, Catherine arrives, intending to facilitate Billy's medical discharge. Despite her efforts, Billy insists on redeploying with his squad, driven more by a sense of belonging than duty. Although Catherine is visibly upset, they share a tearful hug after Billy explains his feelings. Returning to the limo, Billy's mind blurs reality with hallucination, and he sees a Humvee instead. Inside, he encounters an icon of Ganesha and imagines a philosophical conversation with Shroom. After telling Shroom, "I love you," Billy snaps back to reality to find himself in the limo with his squad. The movie concludes as each reciprocates with "I love you," reinforcing their bond. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.